Welcome back to my prison series. This is episode 71. Today we are going to talk about someone getting life in prison, people. Okay, all right. And it was an American citizen that got life in prison. And it happened, I think it happened fast. Okay? Okay, so it says an American citizen sentenced to life in prison for providing material support to ISIS that resulted in death. Okay? Now, this happened 2 years ago, late October. So it says defendant was a sniper and weapons instructor for the foreign terrorist organization and fought in multiple battles in Syria. And I want to speak on the part of them getting the life in prison. I think that has something to do with betraying America. If you betray America, they're like, what good is it to have you? You know, you might as well just be in prison the rest of your life. That's how the judge felt. Then it says earlier in federal court in Brooklyn, New York, Ruslan Marchtovic, 46 years old, a U.S. citizen and former resident in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, was sentenced to life in prison for providing material support to ISIS, a designated foreign terrorist organization that resulted in death. Okay, so this guy was also sentenced to concurrent terms of 20 years in prison on related convictions of conspiracy to provide material to support ISIS and obstruction of justice, and 10 years in prison for receipt of military-type training from ISIS. Okay, so this guy was convicted by a federal juror after a 3-week trial in February. And this guy abandoned his family and country to fight for ISIS and train others to carry out its reign of terror. Okay, and it was a cause he remains devoted to this day. And then they said that the Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department National Security Division, now he's being held accountable, they said, for his crimes with a sentence of life in prison. The Department of Justice is committed to bringing justice to those who would aid such murderous terrorist organizations. They said today's life sentence was rightly holds this guy responsible for the carnage he inflicted as a sworn member of ISIS and protects the world community from this. They called him a killer. Said U.S. Attorney Breon Peace for Eastern District of New York. The defendant committed his life to that terrorist organization and became a lethal sniper for ISIS in Syria, training many other ISIS members to shoot and kill as ISIS waged its brutal, barbaric campaign. To this day, the defendant maintains his unrepellent allegiance to the evil cause. Like this defendant now knows anyone who takes up arms in service of ISIS and causes death and destruction will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law by this office. They said U.S. government worked tirelessly with our international partners to locate and return this U.S. citizen to face accountability for his crimes, said Executive Assistant Director Larsa L. Snap of FBI's National Security Branch. He's a convicted terrorist who fought for ISIS and taught others how to kill on behalf of their violent extremist ideology. Justice was served with today's life sentence. Between December 2013 and March 2019, this guy provided and conspired to provide material support and resources in the form of personnel, including himself, training and expert advice and assistance to a foreign terrorist organization named ISIS, knowing that ISIS was a designated foreign terrorist organization that had engaged in terrorist activity and terrorism. It says that this guy also received military type training from ISIS in violation of federal law. They said on December 24th of 2013, he abandoned his wife and daughter in Brooklyn and boarded a flight to JFK International Airport bound for Istanbul, Turkey, along with co-conspirator Mirzat Kaidik. By early January of 2014, this guy traveled to North Syria in the area of Aleppo, joined ISIS as a fighter, and I guess that his co-conspirator Kandik was arrested in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, convicted of conspiracy to provide material to support ISIS, resulting in death by federal juror in Brooklyn in May of 2022, and sentenced to life in prison in July. Over the course of approximately 5 years fighting on the behalf of ISIS, this guy fought in numerous battles against ISIS enemies, including engagements in, I don't even know, some of these countries is so hard to pronounce. Kobani, Tabak, Rock, Zar. It's like that's the name of this stuff. And then in ISIS' last words in Syria at Bangholes in March 2019, this guy received training in how to use automatic rifles, machine guns, and rocket-propelled grenades. In mid-2014, he volunteered to train as a sniper. Over time, he became a sniper trainer on behalf of ISIS, estimating he taught nearly 100 students. A former U.S. Navy SEAL Scout sniper testified on trial that the defendant's sniper training course was consistent with what the former SEALs would expect to be taught in a sniper training program. From Syria, the defendant attempted to recruit another individual to travel from the United States to Syria to fight for ISIS and sought to obtain funds to purchase a scope for his rifle from the same person. The defendant also told his estranged wife that he was fighting on behalf of ISIS, described by him in a recorded January 2015 voicemail as the most atrocious terrorist organization in the world that ever existed. So sad, right, people? If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and don't forget to check out my previous prison series episodes, and don't forget to also check out my death series. Okay, so his estranged wife testified at his trial that he sent her a photograph of 3 dead fingers, one of whom was wearing a patch reading Islamic State of Iraq and Al-Sham, i.e. ISIS in Arabic script. And he was captured in Syria after ISIS last stand up at Baghogs near the Syria-Iraq border. Just before his capture, he discarded his rifle and destroyed his cell phone. He admitted to agents from the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force that he had fought in numerous battles on behalf of ISIS as a warrior and sniper, serving in several different Qabbats or ISIS fighting brigades, and recorded phone calls to his mother from the facilities operated by the Bureau of Prisons, BOP. The defendant told her that he was carrying out Allah's orders when he waged jihad and killed for ISIS, that he intended to return to waging jihad if released, that he would fight until he meets Allah, until his death. In September of 2020, staff at the BOP facility confiscated a makeshift ISIS flag affixed to his cell wall. The defendant had filled in an 8.5 times 11 sheet of paper with black ink and Arabic writing in the design of the ISIS flag. During his trial, the defendant reiterated his allegiance to ISIS to court personnel, stating that ISIS would rise again. No wonder you got life in prison. You're sick. The Justice Department Um, um, okay, the Justice Department Office of International Affairs, the FBI's legal and abroad and foreign authorities in multiple countries on multiple continents provided critical assistance in this case. I don't think there's much more to say about it, but he deserved the life the life in prison. When you work for ISIS people, you get life in prison. That's the moral of the story. You can't fight and go against America, or America goes against you and tosses you to the side and no longer cares, about your life. And yeah, there's no reason to even have you in this country. And if you are, I guess you'll be serving behind and just wasting your life away because you have life in prison now. So that is all I have for you. Nice of you guys to join me. And of course, I will see you on the next one. And don't forget to like the video. And please don't forget to subscribe, people.